And welcome to Sunday Night Guardians. Man, I love that intro. I love that intro. I'm your host, co-host, and Roger First in Chicago Falls. I'm joined by my man Bill Petrollo, the pizza guy, and Zach at the corner from at the Corner podcast. How you guys doing tonight, Bill? How you doing tonight?
Fantastic, ready to go, man. I got all my yard work done while listening to every one of our Cleveland teams losing in that place up north in the Great White North. Man, that's got my yard work done and
beautiful. You dodged the raindrops down there? Did you get a lot of rain?
No, this weekend has been beautiful down here in Dayton. It has been just an absolutely beautiful weekend. It was cloudy Saturday morning, and a little cool, but it warmed up, and then it's beautiful. So yesterday and today were real beautiful.
Lucky you. I pumped my basement out 4 times this week. It's pumping out now. When you jumped on the screen, my neighbor was calling me to ask me if I actually put another pump. He's asked me if I had an extra pump. My pump blew out. His basement's flooded. No. It's bad here. Rainouts, baseball rainouts. That's our life right now. Zach, how you doing? Where you at? What's the weather like? What's going on, man?
Oh man, here in beautiful Wichita, Kansas. It is hail and tornado season. Just yesterday, we had quarter-sized hail that came down so strong that you couldn't have a regular volume conversation inside my house. We had an EF4 tornado touchdown about 200 miles south of us. We had land spouts, which if you guys don't know what those are, I didn't even know that was a thing. They're like between a dust devil and a tornado, but they're not associated with like mesocyclonic clouds, which cause tornadoes. They're just caused by wind creating crazy kinetic energy such that it literally spirals down to the ground. But then as soon as it hits the ground, it disappears. So we've had that. We've had a ton of rain. It gets nice and cool during the weekends. It warms up during the week, and then the cold front comes through on the weekend, and we get these nasty storms. So no flooding here, thankfully. Just some crazy hail and tornadoes and Midwest living, baby. We're getting it. We're getting it.
Now, you don't live there by choice, right? You're a serviceman. I salute you. Thank you for your service.
I am.
You don't live in hurricane or you don't live in Tornado Alley by choice, right?
No.
The people that live there by choice is nuts.
Well, I agree. So it's funny because I lived in Tampa before this, and obviously in the 2 years I was in Florida before this, we had a horrible experience with hurricanes, and we didn't even get the worst of it. But that was enough to make me take a voluntary assignment elsewhere. So really, I just traded one bag of crap for another. So the way
we got you. We're gonna send you to Wichita,
man.
So here's the thing. I like it here. I like Wichita a lot. Wichita's a great city if you've never been here. The culture's great. The community's great. The assignment that I'm doing is fantastic. However, the weather is far more unpredictable. So the way I tell people is, at least with hurricanes, you have a solid idea, like a week ahead of time, that you're going to get one. Tornadoes? Maybe. Yesterday, we had some pretty nasty weather. Today, we were in the enhanced risk region and got nothing.
Wow.
So it's a guessing game, and it keeps us busy at work because $256 million airplanes cannot take crazy wind and hail damage, and so every time these come through, we're flying them off elsewhere.
Get them in the garage.
Be careful with our tax dollars.
Get them in the hangar.
Take it easy.
If only we had enough hangars for as many planes as we have.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we're back this week. It's been a tough week.
Yes.
The Astros came into town. They were on an 8-game losing streak, and we were nice enough to break that for them. And then the the struggling Blue Jays with their World Series hangover. We were nice enough to go up there and let them get two on a one-game road trip, one series road trip. Then we come back home. But the week that was, boys, what do you think?
Insane. It just, I mean, you go 2-4, and honestly, you don't look that great. You know, I know we got two wins by scoring what, 8 runs in both games. Other than that, I mean, good Lord, it's what was that, right? I mean, we'll be talking about the defense later, but man, we can honestly probably say, I don't know, what, 3-4 games we can say we've lost because of defense. I mean, we should have been out of innings and the game would have been over, and we lost the game. What, 4? Probably 4. I'd say. It's crazy. Baseball, you know, it is what it is. Early year, and this is what happens when you go all in with the young kids and platooning. Yeah.
I think I'll just sum up this week with one game. Go back to the Orioles game on the 17th? It's a Friday night game. Just coming off a 4-2 win to start a 4-game series. Offense is stifling. Guys are swinging at garbage, taking center cheddar, and you get a grand slam in the bottom. I want to say it was the bottom of the 7th inning. And then your pitching promptly turns around and hands away 6 runs on 4 walks, an error, and a hit batter. That is the synopsis of this week of baseball in one game. So I think it's a couple things, and it's like Bill said, you got a lot of young talent, and you are seeing why those of us that were hesitant on Juan Brito were hesitant on Juan Brito. He has played less than a month in Major League Baseball, and he is in the top 10 for errors by second baseman by position in less than 15 games.
Yes.
That's absurd, which we'll talk about that later. But he does hit. There's always an expression that I live by, that the bat will find a place in the lineup if it can hit. But the thing is, what do you do when Gabriel Arias comes back if he's booting routine ground balls? Guys, they lost 2 games this week on errors that he made. 2 in the same week.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't see guys boot plays that cost games twice in a month. And that's considered, even some of those guys are considered below league average on defense. He doesn't really have a defensive home. You can't stick him at first. It's crowded, and that's a mess. I deal with, you know what? I'll say this. I'd rather deal with Rocchio booting a routine play once every 2 weeks at shortstop rather than trying to put Brito there, because that's not a thing. At least with Arias, you get the glove. So I don't know, man, but that's just kind of a sticking point. I don't really know like how that's going to play forward, and this is where you have to trust teams to work their guys. I think of a good example that I got to experience when I lived in Georgia. I had the benefit of being a transplant Braves fan when I lived in Georgia and watching Dansby Swanson's defensive development.
Yep.
And he was out there working every day. Now, granted, he had the future Hall of Fame coach, Ron Washington. And if you've ever seen Wash work with infielders, dude's a legend. But Brito's out there taking balls every day. He's down there getting ground balls. He's getting them hit off the fungo. He's doing the backhand drills. He's young. You know, if this is what we're stuck with, you have to hope it gets better, because you do want his bat available. Maybe just not in the starting lineup for 7 innings on defense. I didn't want to go into that early, but you lose two games in a week because of one dude, and one of them was really bad. One of them was a ball that
terrible.
He fielded cleanly that he just lobbed into the ether. Whee! There it goes. It's gone.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that. Cannot be doing that. But this is where you gotta trust voter, man. And I trust in Stephen Vogt.
No, it was perfect timing, because that's where I had the banner right here at the beginning.
Beautiful.
So you can get into that. You know, so with Brito, I go to a lot of Ducks games, and when he came up and he was here for a while, I never left the ball game and said, man, that Juan Burrito. I've left that ballpark and saw some ball players that come through there and left the game and said, man, wow, look at that Cephas. Look at, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I walked out of that ballpark and thought, man, that kid's going to be a ball. Burrito never struck me as that. He's just a ball player out there. Not that he was doing anything wrong. He played good, solid baseball. But I never left there and said, man, I can't wait till that kid gets up.
Yep.
So he never struck me even when he was down here in Akron. As he's going to be a superstar. You're right. If he's hitting, and that's what you give up. They gave it up with getting rid of Jimenez. They gave it up with getting rid of Straw. Defense up the middle is no longer a priority in Major League Baseball. If you can hit, they'll find a spot for you, and if they can hide you at second base,
and this team has had multiple games that they've won where they overcame bad pitching and defense by just outscoring their opponents.
Yeah, and in today's game, that's what it is. You trade that in for the defense up the middle. That's what baseball used to be about, and that's just you got a guy that's hitting, it's going to boot the ball. But like you said, twice in 1 week, he cost you 2 ball games. Your WAR is going down a lot. That happens. So, Bill, you got anything on Burrito?
Well, so you have Angel Martinez, who goes 2 for 4, 2-run home run, 4 RBIs. What was it? Tuesday or no, wait a minute. Yeah, Tuesday.
He's looking
and then,
good.
No, Wednesday. Sorry, Wednesday. And then we sit him. We sit him on Thursday and we lose 2-0. And then he they take Burrito out because he's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a weak ground ball out. And then they put, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because we can't seem to get any right-handed bats. If we do have the right-handed bats, we got to give them some at bats. I mean, like today, Reese and Fry they were back to back. I'm like, oh wow, we got 2 right-handed hitters back to back today. Holy cow! I was actually shocked. But it is what it is. This team we are where we are. I mean, we're still in first. The Reds just absolutely demolished the Tigers this weekend, except for today they lost. So, I mean, we're still in first, but that's just a weird thing. It's like it was a crappy week. We're 2-4. We didn't look good. If you're going to sit there on vote, I'm going to keep that on vote. That's on him. I don't think this team looked good this week, and that's on Steven. It's got, at some point we have to start saying, you know what? What are you doing about it, Steve? What are you doing about it? Because it's not that I don't trust him. It's just that I think he's still trying to figure out how can I balance all of this with the young kids and everything else. And I don't know if you keep doing it. I mean, like Travis Bazzana was pulled at the after the 6th inning today. He was taken out, no injury or anything. So of course Hammy was making a big deal out of it, like, I bet right now someone's coming up there and saying, hey, is it going to be Travis time up here? But it's just weird, man. It's just a weird week. This was a very strange week for this club.
Yeah.
Now, I'll play devil's advocate on that. This is my favorite expression. It is early.
I know.
Yes. And that's what my point, it's April 26th, man. I'm the guy last year in April that said we're going to win the division. And I'm the guy in May that said it, and the guy in June. And in July, they were telling me I'm crazy. And in August, all know-it-alls and all the big accounts and the eyebrows and all the rest of them on here told me I didn't know anything about baseball, and I was out of my mind.
I will say this, Roger, you called the Tigers blowing that division lead. You called it.
When you barnstorm and you're a young team, you're going to hit a wall. You're going to hit the wall, and they hit the wall. It's baseball 101. Even in September, the casuals were laughing at me, and they wanted, like I said, they would in the last week of the season. So am I worried today? Not at all. Not at all. It's April 26th. You're going to have bad weeks. You're going to have bad series. Do they need to fix it? Absolutely. Do they need to figure some things out? Absolutely. But right now, they're seeing if Burrito can be the guy that will sit in. And so, because when Gabriel Arias comes back, he's your shortstop. And Brian Rocchio is your second baseman. And that's it. They're your veteran starters, period, man. They're the upperclassmen. They're the varsity. They're playing baseball. They're not going to have, they want Burrito up here if he can hit and ride the bench or whatever. I don't see, and give you some hits when he's in there. That's a bonus. I don't see him doing that with the Travis Pisana sitting on the bench up here and then going on strike after they put him on the 40 man and not playing baseball for a year and platooning up here in the big leagues and not developing. That's a whole nother issue another hill that I'm dying on. So anyway, no, I'm not worried at all. I know, Bill, that you got one thing that you want to get on your soapbox about, and it's this platooning that you want to pontificate. What's going on with the platooning? What's got your
what a word.
Pontification?
You like that?
What a word.
Yeah, it's that Catholic pontiff.
Busting out Merriam-Webster
today. The word pontiff.
Yeah, I got my thesaurus out.
Oh, I'm so proud of you, Roger. Oh, my goodness.
Roger, you're probably the only one in this chat that knows what a thesaurus is.
No, Bill's a teacher. Bill knows what a thesaurus is. He's a school teacher.
I'm sorry.
Bill's my editor. I know what a thesaurus is, but Bill knows what punctuation is, right, Bill? Bill's my editor when I write.
when I was in elementary school, back when we rode dinosaurs into school, right? And then you went uphill both ways. One of the things that you had to have was this, and our teachers even showed you the one to get. So it was like this little mini spiral dictionary / thesaurus. So it had the dictionary of most of the words that you had to know from like kindergarten through, 9th grade. And then the last like 20 pages was a thesaurus. So I still have it. I might even have it somewhere here. I might have it at school. I don't remember. I still have the damn thing. Like, are you kidding me? That thing's probably 70. I think I bought it in 73 or 74, and I've had it since then. It's crazy. It's crazy. So here's the thing that I kind of. So I was trying to go back and look, and we kind of mentioned this last week a little bit. Like in baseball in the past, 60s, 70s, even in the 80s, what you had was you didn't see the platooning deal. And what you saw instead, and I use this example from the Cincinnati Reds. So Ken Griffey Sr., he comes up, and the Reds are like, we're just going to shove him in the outfield, and he's going to play. Now, he would play like 3 or 4 straight games, but the last game that he was not going to play, he would only, like maybe have 3 at-bats, and then whoever was going to play his position the next day would get that last at-bat, and then they would have the whole bats for the next game. So you'd often see, like, if you go back and look and see, like, he played 3 games, had an off game, had 4 games, had an off day. Okay. And that was as a rookie. Okay. But he is a great example of exactly how baseball used to do this. And then I really think when we had our wonderful Oakland A's and Billy Beane come in with the just change in the way we looked at that, all of a sudden now we're looking at a different metric. And we're trying to find guys who can give you that metric no matter who is pitching, right? So that they had, kind of an equal situation. And that really ended up with switch hitters, right? So the more you can have switch hitters, by definition, if you have more switch hitters, you have a better opportunity to kind of platoon, because then you can kind of righty lefty didn't make a difference, right? And so in 2020, the Indians led Major League in like a 76% rate of success in platooning. But it was because their almost an entire lineup was switch hitters. So here, I grabbed that. So I'm just going to tell you who this was our starting lineup in 2020. Okay. Cesar Hernandez, second base, switch hitter, right? Then you had Jose Ramirez, third base, switch hitter. You had Lindor, switch hitter. You had Carlos Santana, switch hitter. There's your entire infield, are all switch hitters, right? You continue on, and like your DH was Franmil Reyes, okay, righty only. Tyler Naquin, lefty only. Domingo Santana, totally forgot him. I'm like, how did I forget Domingo Santana, right? 2 Santanas on the same team, I totally forgot. Right-handed hitter, but then you had Sandy Leon as catcher as a switch hitter. So the Indians were the best team in baseball because they had all these switch hitters, and they can do the platooning. When I went back and started looking at, well, if that's the case, if they had a 76% rate, shouldn't they have been near the top in batting average, or at least in the slash? They weren't. In 2020, they were at, let me get it, 26. If I average all of those slash categories where they were, They averaged 26 out of 30 teams. And I know we can sit there and say, well, it's the cheap roster, blah, blah, blah. This is the reality that Francona had to deal with, blah, 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 whatever. But I mean, in 2021, 21st, and we platooned. 2022, we were 19th. That was like our best year, platoon. In 2023, we were 23rd. 2024, we averaged 20th. And then last year, we were the 29th team in all of baseball in all three of those categories. And all that we did was add Reese this year. So this idea of platooning, I think, with the young kids is not working. I don't think you can platoon with young kids. You've got to leave them, and like having Schneemann is perhaps one of the best things that this club has decided to give a contract for a guy who can play almost any position. But I really think the platooning is damaging the development of the younger kids, because we're not letting them grow. We're not letting them grow into a player. And I'm going to tell you, Kyle Manzardo is a classic example. How many first basemen we have? Tell me how many first basemen we have on this team right now, right?
Yeah.
You've got Kyle. You've got Reese. You've got Fry. Who else wants to play first base, right? Anybody else that you want? I mean, this is what he's doing, is he's got to try and get guys in different positions. The injury to Gabby, that was tough, because it forced early on them to have to say, man, how are we going to do this? And we're sitting here playing David Fry out in right field. I'm like, come on. You know, this whole idea of platooning, to me, I think is part of the reason why our defense has not been great. I think is a big part of the reason why we are not developing the young power hitters. I mean, think about Francisco and Jose. They came up here and we played. Now, you know, Francisco played the whole time. I think the same thing. Jose was like 3 days and a day off. I'd have to go back and verify that. I'm just not a fan of the platooning. I know first place, we're in the playoffs a couple of years here. I get it. I do. But we are not developing anybody that's a superstar. And this team badly, sorely needs a superstar behind Jose. Because if they can't find somebody behind him, we may win the Central, but then it's going to be one and done. And that's all I'll say. You guys go ahead and add what you want.
Zach, where you at on this?
I don't really know if there's. So the problem with this is the age-old question, and I know that they have these conversations in the clubhouse every day, because I guarantee you, if we are sitting here as fans scratching our heads, imagine the conversations that go on behind closed doors between Chris and Mike and Steve, and they're trying to fit this puzzle together. I always use the analogy of baseball is a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle where you put part of it together one day, and you come back to it next day, and the color scheme has changed, and the pieces are different shapes. It's just this constant dynamic that's moving. The season is long. Guys get hurt. You've got young talent. Personally, I think this team has too many first basemen. I think you need to make a commitment on, is Bo Naylor your everyday catcher? Do you like Bo? If you like Austin Hedges at this point, and I've been saying this for a while, if you like Austin Hedges at this point, hire him on staff. Free up his roster spot. If you want Austin Hedges developing your catchers, just hire him on as a coach at this point. Now, granted, we've seen the Hedgie effect, and it still works. Austin Hedges is one of your better catchers at ABS challenges, and he is a fantastic game caller. The proof is in the pudding. But how long are you going to let a young player like Kyle Manzardo suffer from the platoon effect when he needs to be getting everyday at bats? Guys, he goes out there 2-3 times a week, and he looks like a lost puppy. And, you know, I posted that on Twitter, and I got a comment. It's like, well, he had a 905 OPS in the last 7 games. Brother, give me a break. Quit getting sucked into small sample size syndrome. Use your eyes. If you're a baseball fan and your eye test is not refined, watch the damn games. If you've got guys that are swinging at sliders in the other batter's box on a 1-0 count, you have a problem. And I don't know whether it's hurting these guys or if it's good for them to watch other people's approaches. These are all decisions that get made that I do not envy not being a part of. But I don't really know if it works. They did this last year, and they were one of the worst offenses in the league. And
29.
I'm
29th out
not.
of 30th.
You can't tote that. And you know what? We knew it was coming. We knew it was going to be coming, where the big offseason edition was going to be some very quiet, lackluster deal. And it was Reese Hoskins, which I actually like the Hoskins signing because
Agreed.
Reese Hoskins is a dude. He
He's
is
a
a
professional hitter.
dude. He is. And he has played in big time moments, hit big time home runs.
I don't care if he
I
doesn't-
watched him break the hearts of Atlanta Braves fans
Yes.
when he hit that monster 3-run home run in that playoff series. That
I
type
don't care
of
if he
experience.
doesn't hit until August.
Yeah. But the thing is, you want
Because
you
I
want
know
that
he
type of,
will when the moment's right, when he
exactly.
need it.
And you want that type of experience around, especially when you've got young guys that are trying to navigate a long season. You want mentality of here's how you take care of yourself, here's how you press through, here's how you recover after games. Those are all good things. But with that said, I don't know how this plays out in the long run because they're running out mostly the same roster that they did last year with the exception of DeLauder and Hoskins. So I just hope it works out. Hope Quan gets going once he's healthy. And, Chase is still doing Chase things. He's cooled off a bit, which that's fine. If I see any of you on Twitter saying, oh, send it back down, brother, please sit the hell down. He is young. Most guys do not hit their full development in baseball until they're like 27.
Yeah, but the problem I have is Bo and Kyle were given opportunities last year.
They were.
They were
And
given
now
a
they're
lot
not.
of opportunities and a lot of at-bats. And they have not, they are not producing this year. And I think that's the problem is we have two guys who supposedly are supposed to be important people for us in the, long term, supposedly. And they are having a terrible second kind of quote unquote full season. And could the Guardians be at fault for allowing that to happen? Maybe. But with Bo, we got a Bo problem. We got a Bo problem.
We do. We're also, we're still barely a month into the season as it is. And I will tell you this, and there are those of you that may watch this that go, oh, here he goes talking about the expected stats. Bro, just go look at his Baseball Savant page. He is making good contact. He is getting very unlucky. But, so in the baseball curve of things, that should inherently correct itself as time goes on. You can only hit the ball really hard to where someone is standing right there so many times. So just write it out. I mean, it's not like you have anybody else. I mean, unless they think that they can give Cooper Ingle a look. But, Bo's 26. Some regression as, these guys go through their second and third seasons. Just give it time. I think if Bo is not producing at a better clip by like July, I think that's a reasonable time to revisit that conversation. But for now, write it out. As for what you do with David Fry, I mean, he is a absolute left-handed killer. But again, he's just adding to the problem of I personally think he's taking away bats from Manzardo, and I think Kyle should be getting more.
Trade deadline is August 3rd this year.
It is.
Yeah, I thought it was like the third week in July, but I thought it was the week after the All-Star break. But it's August 3rd, so
usually always falls around the end of July. So
excuse me.
And I can tell you this, nobody is going to be trading a catcher that hits. Nobody
may be trading anything because we talked about this last week. The union has just absolutely crushed itself in any potential for 2027 in the negotiations. And so now the union's in huge trouble. And so we
might not have baseball next year.
We're not. I really think we're not. But I think this trade deadline is going to be. There's nothing's going to happen. I don't think anybody's going to trade unless if they. I don't know. I guess I better kind of wait and see what happens through May and June. It's possible that there are going to be some teams that are like, let's just go all in, get our World Series, and then we'll just go young in 28.
All right, we'll wrap this up. I want to get to the rest of the show, but as far as platooning, I think it's the way of baseball today. Everybody on the Guardians roster, minus two of the catchers, and Manzardo plays two positions. Jose played left field when Juan Uribe played third base in 2016. Jose played out in the outfield.
Yes, he did.
Kwan started playing center field this year. Everybody can play at least two positions. I think that's a big thing for Bazana coming up, is he can only play second base. That's one thing that they haven't even attempted to cross train him. They say his arm, his speed, whatever. I think platooning and switching lineups and getting bats in the lineups in different ways is the way of baseball. You know what? My 16-year-old played third, short, second, first, and pitch this week at the JV and varsity level. Played all the infield positions, and he could play all nine. You know, my 11-year-old played 12U this week. He started center field, he moved to short, and then he caught the rest of the game. He can play all nine positions and pitch. It's the way of baseball. Your kid better be able to play at least two positions. All right, I just think that's the way it's going. All right, we talked a lot of baseball. We're going to go to Bill's seventh inning stretch. And this is just something that's crazy or obscure that has nothing to do with baseball. No baseball here, just something wacky or weird. Bill, what do you got this week? I got a good one.
I got a good one for you. So you guys may have to think about this, okay? But I was listening to, as I was doing yard work, and I was listening to a lot of my podcasts, and I kind of recommended a podcast last week that was part of my seventh inning stretch. But I'm listening to a podcast, and it dawned on me, I'm like, I have something I want to ask you guys. So are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. So this is my seventh inning stretch for this week. You ready?
Yes, sir.
What are your top three Arnold Schwarzenegger movie lines?
Ooh.
What are your top three Arnold Schwarzenegger movie lines? And I'll start off with what I think probably all of us are going to agree with. I'll be back.
Of course.
I think we would probably say that would be number one, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the most used. This one's my favorite. It's not a tumor. From the teacher movie where he's the teacher. The little kid told me, he said, it's not a tumor. Oh man, I don't know. So many great ones, man. I just watched Total Recall the other day. Just in 3 minutes of that movie alone, he has just tremendous one-liners. You hit me on the spot with it. But if the number one that it sticks out is in that movie where he's a kindergarten cop, and it's not a tumor. And that one just blows me away.
That's a good one.
But there's a million. Zach, what do you got? You got one?
So actually, one of my favorite movies from childhood of all time is Jingle All the Way, which if you've never seen it, is an absolutely fantastic movie. Go watch it. It's hilarious. It is ridiculous 90s Christmas action at its finest. And there's a line of the movie where he goes, "Put that cookie down now." Which, if you haven't seen the movie, is going to make no sense at all. But when you watch it, it is amazing. It is a holiday staple in my household for good reason.
Good pull. Good pull,
I have two other ones that are two really good movies. So I really like Predator. When Predator first came out, to this day, to me, that's still a great movie.
Oh,
and then one quote that because he has a lot of really good quotes in there. And the one I really like is, "If it bleeds, we can kill it." That's one of my favorite Predator lines.
Yep.
And then the other one is, you can argue and say, I think perhaps Terminator 2 might really be one of the best action movies all time, right? Just absolutely one of the best action movies all time. And is "Hasta la vista, baby," is again one of those classic lines from him. So I just thought for my seventh inning stretch here, a little bit of fun with Arnold and some of the best lines that we didn't even include some of the ones from True Lies, which that was another really good movie. With, that was, there was a stretch where he was a definite person who was in demand.
True Lies.
Definitely put up some serious money box office stuff. at the same time that there was Tom Cruise and everything else, here he is, got two shows at once, two movies at once, like Kindergarten Cop and then Twins. I think Kindergarten Cop and Twins, I think were roughly the same time.
Right.
That's crazy.
Twins is
That's
phenomenal.
my seventh inning stretch.
Twins is brilliant.
Thank
That's a
you,
good one,
gentlemen.
Bill.
Good
Also,
one,
I just
Bill.
realized you were drinking Kona Big Wave. Very, very good.
Good pull.
On sale
All
this
right, I
weekend.
got one.
All right.
I got one for you. This is just news. This just happened. April 2026. A woman in Hong Kong reportedly lost 10 years of her memory after a severe bout of constipation. Just being clogged up.
Huh.
No lettuce. The medical experts from Calabarda suggest might be transient global amnesia triggered by extreme physical strain. Though why it erased just a full decade of her life remains a mystery. I did some digging, and she's the president of the Hong Kong Browns backers. So that might
Are you
play a
kidding?
role. No,
Wow.
no, I made that part up. But yeah, she lost.
Oh
But
my gosh.
that
that's
would explain
insane.
it if that were the case. Yeah, 10
That
years
is
gone.
insane. Oh
Doesn't
my
know
God.
anybody.
I've
Doesn't
got,
know her. Just,
I've got-
she knows
I've got
people
one-
that. Yeah.
I've got one for you guys real quick in the
What do
seven
you
inning
got?
stretch. Have you guys ever found out what your Florida man story is?
What?
So the way that you do this is you Google Florida man and then you put your birthday. So for example, you would put, for me, I would go into Google and search Florida man, June 17th. And then whatever the top search result is your birthday's Florida man story. My Florida man story is on June 17th, a Florida man was arrested for allegedly distributing more than $230 million in adulterated HIV drugs that were ultimately dispensed to unsuspecting patients.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding?
I'm so serious, dude. And listen, having lived in Florida,
Oh my gosh.
the surface,
I
not
just
even
Googled
the
it.
surface.
That's crazy.
got-
I just Googled it, and my first one came up was about a guy named Edward Cocaine. I didn't even read the rest of it. I was like, this got to be great. Oh, man, that's good stuff.
I got one
I'm
too.
gonna
I
do
got.
that. Yeah.
I'm gonna. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
that was a good little break from baseball. You know what we want to do right now is we want to go to the farm.
Oh, we
And,
love the farm.
Yeah. What's going on down there at the farm? Bill, what do you got?
Well, for me, the big thing is Cooper Ingalls. There was talk that he actually got hurt, so he's put on the 7-day IL, right? But he was going from first to second, and then he was taken out of the game, and there was a lot of speculation, like, oh my gosh, is he going to be called up to the parent club or whatever? I mean, I just had it shoot. Let me just open it up. I couldn't believe what his slash line has been so far this year before he got hurt. So this is Cooper's slash line for just starting here as the starting catcher for Columbus. So get this. He is batting. Come on, get there. Let's go. Doggone it. Sorry, lost it. Here we go. 394, 630, 788.
Oh my
four-
goodness.
That's insane. That is a crazy start to the year for this kid, right? And he's a lefty too, which is really it's kind of strange. I remember once when my brother played catcher, and he's a righty, and I was helping my dad coach, and I remember there was another kid who was a lefty as a catcher, and I thought, man, that's got to be a really tough thing because you have all those right-handed hitters and stuff like that. But the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, no, you know what? That could actually be kind of a bonus. I just think the way this kid has started off this year, he could be putting some heat on. Now, would you want him to come up here and maybe, if at some point we say we're done with the Bo experiment, right? And we trade Bo or whatever happens. I don't know. But wouldn't you want him up here working with Hedges? I mean, if Cooper might potentially be your long-term solution batting the way he is, I mean, like right now his OPS is like 1,400. Like, that's insane what he is doing. I'm not saying it's going to be that way when he gets up here, obviously, but I just think right now this is what a great start for this kid, right? And we were talking about, you know, we need more position players. I'm glad we have pitching. That is the one reason that we make the playoffs every year is pitching. We need something else. We need some power. We need a productive, consistent hitter to get on base. And I don't know, but what a great start. I had to give this kid some props. I mean, I know he had a great career at Clemson too. But man, every time everywhere he's gone in our farm system, right? He starts hot. We move him up. He struggles a little bit, figures it out quickly. Then he's back on top. Then we move him up to Double-A, struggles a little bit, figures it out quickly. Boom, he's hitting again. Same thing, moved him up to Triple-A last year, struggled a little bit, but he figured it out quickly. And this year, boom, this kid is a fast learner. I really like him. Great start to the season for him.
I'll throw in 2 additional things on that. Something worth noting. He is walking at almost a 40% clip. He has walked 20 times in 15 games. He's had multiple games where he's walked twice. He's also hitting for ISO, which for those of you who don't know, ISO is a metric that measures only extra base hits, and they're weighted. So a double is worth 2, a triple is worth 3, and a home run is worth 4. His ISO is almost 400. That tells you out of all of his at-bats how much he is hitting for a double or greater. That's absurd. Now, he's also rocking a BABIP of almost 450, which the law of averages tells you that should correct itself a little bit. But even for a 15-game stretch to be walking at almost 40% of the time and striking out less than 20% of the time, I don't know, man. And we've seen this before in the Guards organization where guys have gotten absolutely smoking hot. And maybe somebody that wasn't on your radar for this year forced their way into the conversation because Cleveland has shown if they have talent in the farm that can help them win games, they'll get a shot. The only question is, it's like, do you want him up here now to play twice a week? The answer is no. So if you see him doing well, keep track of him, watch the games, but you want him in Columbus right now. You want him absolutely feasting and getting better, like Bill said. It's walking
Great
almost
start for you,
40%.
man.
That's
Really
ridiculous.
is.
A
can't
walk rate
remember
above 20% is ridiculous.
I can't remember another minor leaguer having a start like that. I mean,
Grady
I'd have to
Sizemore
go
had
back
one.
and then as a catcher too. I mean, I'd have
Yeah.
to go back and take a look at V-Mart maybe when he was coming up. I really don't know. I can't remember another. I mean, I'm sure there's got to be somebody, right?
Yeah. Not
Like
for
maybe
a
a
long
Tyler
time.
Naquin or-
Not since a long time in our organization, though.
No. And that's a catcher position too. That's the other thing that just has impressed me too, is the catcher position, because you got enough on your plate right now with what's going on. And boy, I tell you, he's a good kid, and I like him a lot. Roger, what do you got?
You know what? I'm going to go to Akron and Angel Genoa.
Yep.
Playing shortstop right now in Akron, really, because there's no room for him in Columbus. Right now he's hitting almost 300. He's playing great baseball. They even got him playing some third in Akron. And the reason I bring him up, and that when we talk guys coming up, when we talk about, bringing players up and adding them, we got to add them to the 40-man roster. And to do that, you got to make room on the 40-man roster. This kid's already on the 40-man roster because they had it in 2025. They're protected from the Rule 5 draft. So they had to put him on the 40. So he's a middle infielder that's on the 40. If there's something with Juan Brito, if Brito just really start, I would think that they would bring him up to fill a hole to see, what would, because he's already on the 40. You don't have to add somebody until Gabriel Arias is back, and that's another month away. Brito isn't going anywhere. I don't think so. I think they're just going to keep putting Daniel Schneemann out there, running him out to second base and doing what they do. But right now he's playing great baseball. I've seen him play down in Akron. I love this kid. He's a switch hitter from both sides of the plate. And like I talked about, versatility on defense, and that's important to this. He could give Jose DH days and days off playing third base. Uh, so there's a lot going on the farm. There's a lot of guys that are right there at the cusp, and they got to determine, are they 4A ball players or are they big leaguers? So I think the sticking point is who's on the 40 going into a strike. I think that's important. I think that's on the franchises, every franchise's mind, who they're protecting, who they're not, who they're going to bring up and add to the 40 and maybe ruin any developmental time that they might have if the strike does go and lasts a long time. Because once you're on that 40-man roster, you can't even play wiffle ball in the driveway with your kids if you're on strike. If they catch you, you're in trouble. So there's a lot to consider when it comes to our farm system, bringing people up who can help, who it'll hurt, bringing them up and adding them. There's a lot to consider. It's not just like, football is a draft pick you should be playing. This is baseball. Grown men play baseball. Travis Bazzana's had 400 at-bats in his career. You know what I mean?
Yep.
In his career. So, big league professional
he's tearing the cover off the baseball too.
He is. And it's just so many things to consider with him. Do they put him on the 40 and risk ruining his development down the road if there's a strike? How much is he going to play? Oh, we already got a middle infielder that's on the 40 that we need to plug in for a little bit so our shortstop gets back. So I think it's a little more complicated than just, like a football or basketball. Oh, he's the number one pick. He should be playing. Baseball's a little more complicated than that. All right, let's go right here. Field of Dreams. And this is where just any college, right, Bill? College, high school, not minor league. We're going down to the college, high school level. If something jumps out. And you know what, Bill, you do a lot of high school and college baseball. I know Fitz ain't here tonight. He'll be back with us soon. But James covers high school baseball nonstop. That's all he does. Zach, what's the high school baseball around you like? You got anything that you see any of it? Or do you? I know you bounce around. It's not your hometown, so it's a little hard to get invested in it.
So I'm still pretty new here. But I will tell you this: Kansas has a great baseball culture. The World Baseball College is here in Wichita. It is prime baseball season. There's teams out on the fields every night of the week. They're playing doubleheaders on weekends. And I work with a coworker, a civilian who's lived here for a long time. His name's Ken. Ken says a lot of the guys, most of your talent development. So if you guys have never been to Kansas, there's Wichita, where I am, which is in the south central part of the state. There's about 130 miles of nothing between us and the next largest town to the north. And then you've got Manhattan, Topeka, in that area up there on the northern part of the state. And then if you go west, there's just nothing except farm fields, and then you eventually get to Colorado. So there's a lot of high school baseball here. There are some pretty competitive high school teams. I want to say that last year, one of the high schools here had a guy go as a D1 scholarship to Kansas. And they had another one go to Louisville. So there's definitely a bit of prime talent here. But as for what's going on in the local high school scene, it's not really something I've had a chance to involve my hands in yet because work is doing this with my hands right now. We're very busy at work. We have a major inspection coming up. So my free time largely is spent at home with my family, getting what time I can with them. So
totally get it.
Get out and see some baseball down there when you got a minute.
Oh, I'm going to. We have a minor league team here too.
Yeah.
The Wichita Wind Surge are the AA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins.
Oh, I'd be there in a minute checking that out. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Twinkies?
What do you got, Bill?
Okay, so I'm going to kind of take it a little bit serious because I was kind of going through. I was kind of going through on, what was it, Wednesday or Thursday, and
I don't know if Zach's heard about this.
Yeah, I came across the Worcester baseball story. So, Zach, I don't know if you heard. So Worcester High School is 8-1 this year, and they're like second place in their division. Pretty solid team. Had a really good start to the year. Had a big win on Tuesday, won 10-0. Their starting second baseman's a sophomore. He also wrestles. So kid also was a wrestler. Had 2 hits. I think he had 2 RBIs in the game. After the game, he went home and was complaining to his parents that his head hurt. He didn't feel good. He started getting dizzy and throwing up. So they took him to the emergency room. They care flighted him to Akron Pediatric. I think it's Akron Pediatric General.
Yeah.
Put him in the ICU, and then he passed, I think, Wednesday morning. And it was
my
just
goodness.
so
Tragic.
sad. And
What?
it's tough, because number one, as a parent,
Man,
I have 4 boys.
I can't imagine.
I got 4 grandkids with a 5th on the way, right? And you just sit here and you're like, there's no reason why your kid should pass before you, right?
Yeah.
And so, and they haven't given an official. There've been different. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to speculate because there could be any number of things that happened to this young man. But I want to give a shout out to Worcester Baseball and then Maddox Grasser, and I believe that's a pronunciation of his last name. At least that's what I've read online. My heart goes out to the family, and I know they set up a GoFundMe, and already they've raised, I think, close to $100,000 for the family in his honor. So, and as a former coach, you've got one or two things can happen, and I think let's see, I'm trying to remember who their coach's name. I think their coach's name is like Steve Young or something like that, or Steve Jones. And I know as a former varsity coach, one or two things can happen, right? Number one, your kids are going to be motivated by this. It's going to be tough for like that first week, and then especially after you have the funeral and everything. And then is it going to be a rallying point for you? And it's going to be something that can maybe drive you all the way through the playoffs, right? And then the other thing that can happen is it just absolutely tanks your season. And my heart just goes out to these kids. They're 8-1, when this happened. And I think they won Thursday before they knew that he passed. I think I may have that wrong. I can't remember. They may have had another game on Wednesday that they won, and then they found out that he passed afterwards. But that's my field of dreams. My heart goes out to the team, to the community, to the parents, and to this kid and all of his friends. Just a tough situation, man. Just my heart just breaks for this kid, for the community, because it's a tight knit community. I mean, you got the Mennonites.
Worcester's a
north
small
of Worcester
town
too,
as
right?
it is.
I know, 4,000 kids total in the school district, and man, it's tough. I'm going to be rooting for them for the rest of this season, man. I'm going to be rooting for them every time they play.
I think I'm not privy to all the information, but there was another story that came out this week about, I believe there was a team in Northeast Ohio that fired their head coach because something happened on...
Oh, yeah. They were on a trip.
Well, they were on spring break in Myrtle Beach, which is a terrible idea anyway. But
yeah, bad idea.
Don't care about what the consequences were, but as somebody that is raising a daughter, and I don't know what her interests are going to be yet. She's still really young. But I'll say this. If you are a parent and your kids are involved in travel ball, baseball, softball, basketball, wrestling, whatever, please, for the love of God, be involved in what your children are doing, because that could have been prevented. Maybe it could have. I don't know about you guys, but when I was growing up playing t-ball and playing city league, my dad assistant coached every team I was on, whether it was just in some capacity helping out with practices or being there at games or making sure that we had stuff to hydrate with after the game and making sure everybody got home safely. He was involved in some capacity, and that was the standard that was set for me. And so if you are a parent that is involved, that has kids that are in these activities, know who their coaches are, know where they're going, know what they're doing. You owe it to your kids to be invested in what they're doing, because things like what happened with that, where you have a coach get fired, not for the same reason, but that can tank a team's season too. And that's not fair to any of the kids that were involved in that. So be an active part of what your kids are doing, please. And remember that when you're teaching them how to play games at high school, yeah, you might be wanting them to win, but be more proud of them for giving their best more than anything. Don't be teaching your kids to go out there and throw 100-mile-an-hour fastballs at the age of 16. For the love of God, we don't need any more Tommy John surgeries among kids.
That's what we talked about that last week too. With at that aspect.
You know who will talk your ear off about that? Scott Bybee. Scott is a huge proponent of the fact that parents are pushing their kids to be competitive over developing fundamentals. And that's how you get these guys that get drafted out of prep schools that, I mean, hell, we have one in our team's farm system, Daniel Espino. Prime example. Came out of Georgia Premier throwing a hundo, and your body's just not designed to do that at that age. So that's all.
Good points, Bill. I'm a dad. My boys, when I see stories like that, I don't even read the detail. I don't, you know what I mean? I just, it's like the male that sits on the little table by the front door that you just set down, and I'll get to that. I just don't want to look at it right now.
Yeah. No.
And being a dad, I just didn't want to. It's like, oh my God, it's just I couldn't even fathom such a thing. And then Zach, to your thing, man, I saw the story, and I'm a travel baseball dad, and we go out of town, and the boys get together to run around the hotel. They swim. We let our boys. They all walk across the streets of the mall. You give them a little trust. You hope that you raise them. They're respectable and they act, accordingly. There's always two sides of the story. The other people that the confrontation was with were frat boys out on the front lawn. I know a lot of frat boys. I know a lot of asshole frat boys.
And I know what an idiot I was when I was 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, exactly. It's are you letting them walk around the college town of Myrtle Beach during spring break? I don't think that's wise. That's the first choice. If I think if I was in Myrtle Beach with my son and he wanted to go walking around with his buddies, it might be a different scenario than going to the mall as a group of, guys, teammates. So it's a fine line, as parents, man, you try to parent them, you try to know everything you're doing. But man, I was 16, I was 14. And the last thing you wanted your parents to know is everything you're doing. So it's a constant war. But you're right. There's a lot of things that could have been avoided. I will say that I do not think these people should have been fired over the incident. I kind of disagree with that. It wasn't, I don't think that, I don't know, man. They had a responsibility to, I guess it's different because parents are at travel ball tournaments, or usually they are, where he was in charge. He was the chaperone of the whole thing, him and his coaches. So there's some responsibility there. So I don't know. You know what, Bill? I'll tell you this, guys. My field of dreams all year is going to be just my kids, because I'm a high school baseball dad for my first year, and then I found myself Saturday morning sitting at a D1 field at University of Akron, watching our sophomore run out there and start second base, varsity, and
hell yeah.
There's a long trail for him. 18 months he had a surgery. Zach, you talked about this. He developed this speed one summer and just came out of nowhere, and he's just blowing 12 and 13-year-olds away, and he'd go to it with the 8-batter, and I'm like, you don't need to do that with the 8-batter. He's terrified out there. He's 11, and you're scaring the shit out of him. Just give him something to hit a ground ball or pop up with and get out of the inning, but when they find that speed and they see it, unfortunately our son had a chipped bone from falling off the playground when he was a little boy. And that put a tear in the tendon. He ended up having the minor Tommy John, the less invasive. So he's coming 18 months off of that. He went in last night, but I'll tell you what, or yesterday afternoon, he's coming up his third time at bat. We were down 7-2. We're 1 run down, bases loaded, and the coach pulls him and puts the senior in, second baseman. And as a dad, and Schneeman, Mr. Schneeman, Patrick talked about this today. When Daniel got pulled, somebody asked him, I said, as a dad, you sit there and you keep your dad opinion to yourself, because your boy would hit a grand slam because he's your boy. You know what I mean? And you start thinking like baseball. And you try to think like a baseball coach. And you think, yeah, this is an important moment of the game. We gave the kid his 3 at bats. Let's see if the senior or the junior come in, and he hit a bases clearing triple, smoked one to the left center field guy. So was it the right baseball move? Yes. But as a dad, you're like, and he had a good outing, but you can see he spent the week playing 4 different positions, JV, fluid, doing his thing, and out there you could see a ground ball. He backed up on it. Now he got the force out, but they couldn't turn 2. He waited on a little bit. He wasn't his natural self, but that'll come, because in 2 years they're going to pull a sophomore who got his 3 at bats, and he's going to go in his position. He's going to hit the triple to clear the bases. when he's an upperclassman, because that's
No, he's
how it
going to hit
works
the
in
grand
baseball.
slam.
So,
He'll hit the slam.
all right, man. We're running short on time. I want to go to the ABS, Bill.
Okay.
It's all bullshit. ABS. What do you got this week for us? What's bullshit? What's got you in a bind?
I was going to. Did you know we're the worst in the league at ABS? Do you realize that
From
we
the
are
from
worst
the hitter's
in the
perspective, yes.
Right. I mean, there are only two people who should be using ABS for us, and that'd be Jose and Hedges. But there's something that I wanted to bring up that I think is ridiculous, and even Hammy said it today, and I'm so glad that he did, because I noticed this, and I'm tired of it. These batters are asking for time, and the umpires are giving them time, and the pitch clock is not starting. That is ridiculous. I believe, and I have to check on this, I believe we're going back up now, so that the time per game is going back up. It's not getting lower, it's going back up. And I think a big part of it is exactly what Hammy mentioned. I saw this a couple times this week. The Blue Jays do this. I mean, they were doing it all weekend. They were asking for time to get out, and then the pitch clock is not starting. I'm sorry. At some point, the umpire's got to say, no, you know what? Sit your ass right in there. You know, we're moving. We're moving. I'm not going to give you this time. It is mind-boggling. They are making it so that the hitters, I mean, and then exactly that happened. And what happened? 2-run home run today. 2-run home run today. It should have been, nope, I'm not going to give it to you. You get into there. Let's go. Let's get this game moving. But instead, he gave him, Vlad Jr. had an additional 15 seconds stepping out. He came back in. Next pitch he saw, bam, out. It was the most frustrating thing. And if teams aren't going to call this, and Vogt's not the guy who's going to come out and complain about anything, which, you know, he reminds me a little bit of a former Cleveland Browns coach that we had that did the exact same thing, right? If he's not going to sit there and argue for his team, that drives me crazy, because at some point you got to say, hey, this is bullshit. I'm sorry. You're giving these guys the opportunity to step out, and that has not been the intention. So evidently, teams are starting to realize, hey, I can ask for time, step out, have a little bit more time. The pitch clock isn't going to start. And if you watch, a lot of times the pitch clock would go to 11, stop, gets out, relax, come back in. And I thought a couple times it actually reset. And I'm like, what is going on here? So that is my all bullshit for this week. And I tell you, if somebody doesn't do something about this, then why do we even have the pitch clock anymore? Because I'm you know me, I actually thought this was a great idea from Major League Baseball, and I love the fact that the games were speeding up, and now it looks like you're adding 5 to 7 minutes. I got to pull that up. I had it and I lost it. That's my ABS for the week, man. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, put a hat on it. Just said it the best. I got nothing for that.
Yeah, Bill, you hit it. I agree with you. It's detrimental, I think. You know, I don't know. That's the only way I come up with. My bull. You know what? My bullshit. This isn't so much bullshit. It's as I scroll, you know, the timeline, as I even talk to people or I listen to sports talk, people got to stop watching baseball on a daily basis, win or lose. This isn't football. There's not 16 games in the schedule. You're you're gonna give yourself high blood pressure. Start watching it in series. You know, all right, we're going on the road. We got 9 games on the road. You know, we want to win 5 of these. If we could take, you know, we got a 10-game homestand coming up. Yeah. You know, start looking at baseball in bigger stretches than overnight, man. You know, there's guys that wanted Saucony's got to go down. You know, he gave up. Man, you know, that's not how it works. We can bring Logan Allen in. You know, it's just give it time. Just relax. You know, it's not, I'm not calling it bullshit. Fan the way you want to fan, but you're driving yourself crazy out there. Worrying about it, daily wins and losses.
Yep. I think I have something. So I don't really have anything for all bullshit this week, but something that I have learned in my older age now, something that really helped me reconnect with baseball late in my 20s, and actually something that eventually led to me launching my own show, was, put your baseball eye to the test. Turn the game on. Don't have any expectations. Turn it on and be thankful that we're fans of a sport that you probably have a baseball game on that you want to watch out of any night of the week, save for the off day every once in a while. Watch some of these young guys approach at the plate. Watch how they adjust to when they get a strike or when they're in 2 strike counts. Watch how these guys position themselves defensively. Watch them grow as the season goes on, because growth does happen, especially in long seasons like this. Learn how to score a baseball game on a score sheet if you don't know how to do that. Watch the game and score the game as it happens. There are more ways to enjoy baseball than just, we won or we lost. Like Roger said, if you live and die by that, you will have a miserable time, because guess what? Your team is gonna drop 5, 6, 7 games in a row at some point in the season, and it's not gonna be a good time. It sucks. It all sucks.
Go over 12.
And I'll tell you what, when that happens, I will tell you guys this. The first thing that I do when that starts happening, when the team starts getting into that funk, is I uninstall Twitter. I uninstall that shit so fast, because, listen, if you've ever been in the military, been around military people, we love collective bitching. We do it better than anybody else.
It's like the teachers. We do the same thing.
Absolutely. I won't. Nope. Give me a break. I'm just going to watch the games. I'm going to realize that they're in the funk and they're going to get out of it eventually. But it's really where, and I'll tell you this too, it is okay to not watch every game. It is perfectly okay to not watch every game. If baseball is not fun for you at the current time, take a break. Go outside, touch some grass, take a walk, go fishing. It is summertime. There are 1,001 other things that you can do with your time that I guarantee you will be more productive for your mental health and well-being than watching your team get their shit kicked in at that given moment. That's all I have to say.
You mean like Mets fans?
What's that?
Like Mets fans?
Did you see the post that the Twins made when the Mets lost their 12th in a row? It was something to the effect of like things that come in dozens, cans of soda, something else, and then like Mets losses.
That's awesome. Donuts.
It was beautiful. Whoever's running the red social media right now, whoever's running the red social media,
they're having a field day. Yes.
The red social media is on point. I mean, they are. Oh my gosh, they were trolling the Tigers the first 2 games. It was beautiful. Like, oh man, this is, and now granted, I know it's nice. Here's another thing. The Reds have, one of the best records in baseball, right?
Yep.
Do you also know that they have the worst batting average in baseball right now?
Do you want to know who also looked like a steaming hot pile of garbage for the first 2 weeks of the season? The Reds.
Yeah. I know.
Baseball's a weird sport, man.
Dude, they're looking pretty good there. Sal Stewart's a real thing, man.
I have that secret love affair with the Reds because of the Big Red Machine. And,
same here.
Man.
That was my childhood. So, and the Indians at the time, if they won 50, 60 games, you were lucky, So, you know what? I wasn't going to do this one, but I got something. I read something that I had to. This stand up, sit down. Zach, I don't know if you saw this one. It's basically, who needs to be benched and who needs to be playing. And it can be organizationally too. It doesn't have to be player. So, Bill, go ahead. This is your. I'll go first. Let me go first.
Yeah, you go. Go.
Because I threw, this is April 26th. I threw this game out. This whole week is chalk it, throw it out. For my stand-up, I want to salute the Ford Youth Sports. For every win, Northeast Ohio Ford dealers donate $500 to Garden Charity. So I want to you hear about it. Tom Hamilton announces it. But this is what I really looked at was the sit down was there's some extreme harassment going on. This has to do with betting. Several Guardian players, including Tanner Bybee and Slade Ciccone, have shared that they've received vulgar and life-threatening messages from bettors who lose money on the games. Man, listen, if you're at that point where you're threatening players, go get some help.
Call the helpline.
Go get some help.
Call the
delete the
helpline.
app. It's a sickness. It's you can't if you think you got control of it, is exactly when you don't. It's exactly when you don't. I knew a guy. Listen, my grandfather was a horse cook. I grew up in a little tiny neighborhood, and my barber took bets. I grew up in that world. I watched a guy. I lived in a house. I watched a guy that had a Trans Am. Beautiful. It was like one of them '83 Firebird Trans Ams or whatever. And then he had just a motorcycle, and then he had a junker, and then he was taking a bus to come and lay his bets, to make his bets at the barber shop. It was all gone, and he's eventually taking a bus there, to make his bets. Man, if you get to that point, you're threatening ball players, you need some help. You need some help. That's all I'm going to say.
This gets into.
And that's my 2 stand up, sit down.
Yep. Don't bet if you can't bet responsibly. Please, for the love of God. Like it's already reached the point where the state is trying to introduce legislature. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. They are seriously trying to limit sports betting because of how out of hand it's gotten. Like, sure, if you want to place a bet, but there is such a thing as responsibility. I am a responsible bettor. I don't bet all that often. I'll throw $5 or $10 on a parlay every once in a while. I have people that I work with that are far more active bettors than I am, but even then, they're responsible and they know when to stop. If you do not know when to stop, there is a number on the bottom of every sports betting book's page.
Yep.
It is required to be there by law. Call the number. Get some help. Please. It's there for a reason.
What do you got?
Stand up, Angel Martinez. We just need to start letting this kid keep playing, and he needs more at bats, and we just need to let him keep playing. And if that means Brito's not going to play as much, I don't know. We need to find a time to let him just keep playing. So if I were Vogt, I would be sitting here like, all right, Angel's playing today. Is he going to be number 2? Let's put him number 2. Kid's hitting, kid's playing decent field. He's my stand up. I'm not going to go with Juan Brito for the sit down. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Stephen Kwan right now he is turning into Miles Straw for us. And that's not what we need. We need him to get on base. And so I'm going to say I'm close to possibly naming Stephen Kwan to be the sit down. Right now I'll say Brito, but if we have another week of Kwan, then maybe Kwan needs to be taken out of the starting or out of the leadoff spot, put him down to the bottom, and we put Rocchio up. And if we go Rocchio, and then we go Angel, and then we go Jose, and then DeWater or Reese or whatever, I'm good with that. Because right now, having 0 runs, look, we're averaging under 4 runs for the past 6 games. Past 6 games we play, we're averaging under 4 runs. And that's not going to cut it. I don't care how good our pitching is. Pitching gave up, other than the 9 runs that we gave up against Houston, right? We're giving up about 5 runs a game. So, but that's my stand-up, sit-down.
Stand-up for me is going to be Daniel Schneemann. Same like Angel. Probably needs to be playing every day. And get this, dude can play anywhere you put him. He has truly become the super U of super U's, and he's producing at the plate. Dude's just a beast. He's fun. The Mormon Missile, the Latter-day Saint Launcher, whatever nickname you want to use that's been coined out there on the internet.
Mormon Missile. I like
the
that.
Mormon Missile and Latter-day Saint Launcher, both credits for those go to Michael Hook and his fantastic brain. But dude's been producing at the plate. He's a stud defensively. He can play center. He can play right. He can play left. He can play short. He can play third. He could probably play first if you gave him a first baseman.
I'm sure he could play first base.
Absolutely. And he's just fun. He's just fun to watch, man.
Yeah.
Tell him, Walsh, it's not that hard playing first base.
And then sit down for me. I don't know. I think Brito's the obvious pick here. I'm actually going to go with some of the negativity I've seen on Twitter. If you guys are counting the season out at this point, this early, like, one, you have the opportunity to be a part of one of the better online fan base communities that's out there. Because I don't know if you guys have seen the online community for like other Major League Baseball teams. I personally think that we have a really good one in Cleveland, and you have the opportunity to be a part of it. Don't be a sour pickle. Don't just ride the wave, okay? And if you're particularly shitty one night, become the Sultan of Scroll. Just scroll, okay? It's not all going to be bad. Team's still early. They're going to figure it out. There's going to be guys that come up that produce. They do every year, okay? They'll pull some minor leaguer out of the hat that you've never heard of who's going to become a staple part of the bullpen in July. I guarantee it, okay? Have fun. That's my sit down.
All right. Like it.
All right. Well, we're getting close to the end. We got a 10-game homestand coming up. We got the Rays, the A's, and the Royals coming into town. The Royals will be here after our next show, but that's what we're looking at. So we'll be 7 games into a 10-game homestand, or 6. I think we have 4 against the Royals. I think that's how it broke down. So, next week, by the time we come back, we'll have 2 of these, the Rays and the A's. The Rays right now are playing great baseball, man.
Yes,
Yeah, they are.
So
turns out that having an actual home stadium to play in is good for the team.
Shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shocking. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a good game tomorrow. You got 2 left-handed pitchers start going. That's gonna be. It's gonna be a good one.
It'll be a good one.
Parker and Matt.
It's a good opportunity to turn around. You got to win at home.
Yeah.
We dropped that series. The last one before we had this one series road trip, to Canada and then coming back home. We already faced the Royals in KC. That's a big. You don't play your division rivals as much as you used to. You could win this series against them. That's big in the division. Those are important now with interleague play. We only play your division teams, I think, 12 times each, compared to the 19 or 20 as you used to. So division games are important. And all of these are American League games. So this is, April's over, and you can't win a World Series in April, but you can lose one in May. It even gets tighter. So we need to tighten it up.
I agree. Got Minnesota, too, after that. Can you believe that? We got the A's, we got the Royals, and then got Minnesota, too. Geez, that's a tough week. We've got, how many games did we say it was? 12 straight games? 1, 2, 3.
It's a 10-game homestand, I'm pretty sure I counted.
Yeah, but it's I'm just looking at the number of games in a row that we're playing, whether it's home or away. Like once we get done with Tampa Bay, then we go Athletics, KC, Minnesota, and the Angels. We don't have an off day. We do not have an off day. That's long. That is a 2-week.
Well, after
no
the
off day.
30th,
I didn't see
they
that.
have the 30th off, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10.
See, that's crazy. When you
30
get
times
away,
straight.
It's nonstop.
that's not. I made a mistake. That's not a 10-game road stand. We go to California for the
Oh yeah, it is.
Athletics and then come back
We're in
home.
Cali for the A's,
So
and
it's
then we're
another
at Kansas City.
1 series road trip to all the way to California and back. That's not going to be fun. So we got the Rays. We got the Rays coming here, and then we go to California. Then we go play wherever the hell they're playing. I don't even know. And then the Royals. Then we come back home to play the Royals. So I screwed that up.
Watch the broadcast for the Royals games. Might see a boy at one of them.
Okay.
Kansas City's only about a 3-hour drive from here. So
Okay.
Well,
Sounds good.
We're about, what are we in? I'm looking at the counter. We're 1 hour and 18 minutes in. Final thoughts, boys.
Can I start? Do you mind?
Yeah, knock yourself out, Bill.
It is Kentucky Derby week. This is one of my favorite weeks of the year.
Ooh,
I've already
it
done
is.
one
The beginning of
article.
horse
I'm going to
racing.
do an article every single day. This is going to be one of the most open Kentucky Derbies. You have 7 or 8 horses that have won events, different horses that have won coming into this. There are so many horses that they give a point system. Like when you win, you get like 100 points or 50 points if you place or whatever. there are 7 or 8 horses that have won races to get here, not just like finish second or third, have won them. And 2 of the potential favorites were scratched for the Derby because they're injured. This is going to be a crazy Derby. And as long as we're not going to have this mud fest like we did last year, this could be one of the most exciting, crazy, insane Kentucky Derbies we've seen in a long time. I am so stoked. Roger, you were talking about this. This was a big deal for my family. Every single one of these, every single major horse race, we would go to somebody's house to watch. Usually it was my grandparents, probably because my grandfather was taking bets on anyhow. But my grandfather lived in Northfield and Thistledown, right? He lived there, right? And he also placed bets for certain individuals down in Little Italy there too. But it was our favorite. It was the favorite. To me, it was one of the things as a kid that I look forward to, because not just because we were getting together as family and we were getting food. Trust me, as this Italian, that was a big part. I love the race. I love the lead up to the race. I love the stories. I loved watching. And I still remember when Secretariat won. My dad was telling me, he said, this is something you will never see in your lifetime. I want you to watch this and you remember this, because when he broke, and my dad was just like, he was standing up and I remember this. I'm like 7 years old or 6, 7 years old. And I still remember this. And he's like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like, wow. Still is to me. That was awesome. Let's go.
With you.
Derby time.
I grew up at Thistledown. I grew up down in Northfield, even watching the trotters. I love the trotters. I spent I'd go and put 20 on every race for the odds on the show. Just to have fun, man. You might win 20, you might lose 20, you might win $5, but you can spend the whole day at the track. And you put 20 on the odds on the show, and you'll have fun. I guarantee it. You might walk away and drop $40 at the most. You do that. You might walk away and win 50. But you'll have fun. I love horses. I love the Kentucky Derby. I have a mint julep shirt in the back, a dress shirt with mint juleps on it.
Beautiful.
We've gotten away from it. Like when I met the boys' mom, we'd watch, and as the boys got older, Saturdays get busy with baseball and everything, and I get home and try to catch it, but it was a whole event for me for years, man. I love the Kentucky Derby. I love all 3 of them. The Belmont.
In college, we used to. In college, it was always the weekend before finals, so it was the last weekend to study. So my buddy used to work at a butcher down in Cincinnati, down in Blue Ash, and it was like my sophomore year. He's like, hey, let's go back and let's have a big cookout. And so I'm like, okay. So we'd leave Friday night. We would go to his place. We'd do a little studying. Saturday morning, he'd go to his butcher. We get all this meat and sausage and Mets and everything. We had like 2 grills that were just stockpiled of food, and then people would come on over to his house, and we would watch the Derby. It was so much fun. I love it. Love it.
Awesome. Zach, you got any final thoughts?
Yes, sir. Keeping with the theme of things that usually bring the gateway to summertime, the weather's getting nice, and if you are an outdoor person like me, find some time to go fishing. It is way too good. I can tell you guys this now that I've lived outside of the state of Ohio. If you live in Ohio, please go fish the lakes and the rivers, because Ohio does a pretty dang good job of taking care of them. If the lakes need stocked, they stock them. Pay your fishing license. Don't get rolled up on by a game warden. Without your fishing license, you will get your pole taken. Ask me how I know. But seriously, find some time to go out and enjoy the weather and the beautiful state of Ohio, or wherever you live, as we come into the summertime, because I will be doing that. I didn't really get to do a lot of fishing in Florida because saltwater fishing is not my thing. I am not a pier fisher. I am a lake and river fisher.
Yeah.
And we have some very nice lakes and rivers here in Kansas that I'm going to be taking advantage of. So, obviously taking a ball game if you can, but go out and enjoy whatever your flavor is outside. And for me, that'll be sitting in a chair with a pole in the water.
That's me. We went fishing this morning, me and the boys, and even little 6-year-old Henry's got his own zip code now. He's out there casting. He's putting the worms on. But we're standing on a pier. We got a nice lake, Monroe Falls State Park over here. And 2 guys come out, and they just moved here. One guy just moved here from California, Northern California, and he's showing us pictures of the fishing up there. And I gave him a guide of Lake Erie, Rocky River up there. We got the Cuyahoga River right here. I set them up with excellent fishing in Ohio. Get out, throw a line in the water, sit down and relax. You'll find that's good for your soul.
Yep.
Fishing is good for your soul.
Speaking of Northern California, I just did a quick little out and back there a couple weeks ago to Travis Air Force Base, which is in Fairfield, California. If you have never been to Northern California and you get the chance to go sometime, do it, because California in that part of the state is unreal. You know, when you think of California, you think of like LA, Silicon Valley, San Diego, urban industrial. You know, we're coming to Travis Air Force Base. We're busting through the clouds at 5,000 feet, and it's just farmland and winding rivers and mountains and wine country, and it's beautiful. So if you ever get a chance to go visit it, you should.
I can't think of where he said he's from. The Delta, maybe? Up Delta area or
That's
something?
definitely, it's up in like wine country area, yeah.
But he, when he first said California, that's what I'm picturing. Him out on a pier in L.A. with, smog and boats and toilet seats floating around. And, he showed me some pictures of
different.
God's country, man. God's country.
Yes, sir.
All right. Ball game, man. I want to thank everybody for watching. You guys got any plugs? You want to do a plug? You got anything coming up this week? We got Dog Show coming up this week, Wednesday night, 9:30. I don't know. I haven't planned that show. I just finished this one. We'll get that one together tomorrow. So thank you for joining us tonight on the Dog Chug Network at the Sunday Night Guardians. We hit almost 20 views tonight. That's pretty good.
Beautiful.
For
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Milestones, baby.
Yeah, man. We appreciate it. If I yelled at you this week on X, it's just because I love you. And I got nothing else. What do you guys? Go Guards?
Go Guards.
Let's go. Go Guards. Go Cavs. Come on.
Wait,
Go
Cavs
Cavs
better figure it
tomorrow.
out.
And we got through a whole show, almost not mentioning the Cleveland Browns. Go Guards.
Who? The who? We have a football team?
We're not going to
ending.
talk about the draft.
That's
I'm
another
ending.